Today I'd like to do a little bit of a different style video. You guys see me standing here behind the desk or in front of the accessory wall for pretty much all the videos that I've posted so far. And I talk a lot about overhead and keeping it low, and I've never really done a proper shop tour. So I'd like to do one of those now. So I'm gonna step out from behind the desk and grab the camera, and I'll show you guys exactly what my shop looks like, what the square footage is, where and how I situate things, and the reasoning behind it. And I think for a lot of people out there, it's gonna be a bit eye-opening what I'm able to actually do with a very limited space. All right, so I'm starting us a little bit noisy right at the front door. So as you can see, first thing, we have a very, very limited space coming in. It's just kind of like a little hallway entryway, and then it goes straight into two stairs. So you're probably thinking, how can this be an ideal bike shop space? It definitely is not. However, the area of town that we're in and the rent is definitely right. And we've been able to make it work just by kind of having an attitude of really looking at the space carefully and figuring out how we can maximize every square foot. We originally had bikes in this front space, but we actually found that it would kind of inundate the customer a little bit. So we ended up, just to create a little bit more of an open space up front, and also to bring our accessories closer to our point of sale, which is where a lot of those smaller purchases are made. It just made more cohesive sense to have everything like this up front. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a second here because I think I'm zoomed in. Let's zoom you out. That's a much better view. So you can see we have a decently open space as you come down these two little stairs to start. Most of this front area is just for accessory items and our point of sale. This, of course, will look familiar to you. This is where I film most of my videos. And naturally, I am using a portable work stand as my tripod. But as you can see, we kind of keep, I'm standing right now where a customer would at checkout. And this is where naturally the questions come up of, do I need a bottle cage? Do I need a helmet? Do I need a water bottle? And so all of that stuff is basically within view here, where we can quickly step out from behind the desk and, you know, walk somebody through why they would want to have a finish line cleaning set, why it's beneficial for their drivetrain, kind of walk them through a couple of things. We do have a rotating bike here that, this is not a great example because we only have one item on it, but typically what we do is we have one bike in the store that's just decked out with accessory items. We recently sold the bike that was in this spot, which is why we don't quite have this one decked out yet, but you can see the little phone holder on there. Usually we'll put multicolored pedals, we'll hang a helmet on there, maybe put a mirror, bottle cage, just so that people can always have an idea of what these things look like on the bike. I think sometimes people look at this stuff on the wall and it's a little bit abstract, but once you see it actually on a bike in action, they can visualize themselves getting utility out of that product a little bit more easily. So that's the motivation behind that. I also just think it kind of looks nice to have a bike right underneath the logo, with all the accessories kind of strewn about. So that's the kind of the first third of the shop, which for context, this is about 13 feet by 18 feet. So we're looking at, you know, roughly 200-ish square feet for the point of sale desk and then all of our accessory items. And now yet even more stairs. This is sacrilegious in a bike shop. Why are there stairs? This next area is kind of a little bit more display. We wanted this to be more apparel and kind of a nice aesthetic place for us to stage bikes. We keep all of our listings up to date on our website. So even though we're a used bike shop and we have stuff turning over all the time, we do find that customers really like being able to just poke onto our website and see what's currently in store. So we use a plugin on our website called Equid that allows us to take a couple of photos and get nice listings. And we use this area right here as our backdrop. So if you can kind of visualize, this kind of backdrop is typically what we will have for our online listings. And yes, that is my bike, in case you were curious. Going into the rest of the second section of the shop is going to be the service area. This is where I definitely squeeze the best bang for my buck out of square footage. Truth be told, if I could have more space for the service department, I would like to. I do have this service rack that can hold 12 bikes. We have a gap in the rack here because there is a storage room here and it's dark and crowded, but we've got all of our, tires and different accessories that we kind of stack back in there. But as you can see, this is my work stand. This is my workbench. This is about 12 feet wide. And from this back wall to that wall is an additional 12 feet. So I'm working with about 150 square feet for the service department. This is the part that gets the highest strain in the peak season because although I only have about 12 or 13 service bikes now, we will get up to about 25 max at peak season, where I will kind of lean into this rack here as some rollover space. As you can see, this is an industrial elevator with a on-ramp that we have kind of, I won't say reconditioned because we didn't change anything structurally with this, but we did kind of use the space so that we can have a section for kids' bikes, but also access to additional work orders. So with this rack, I can extend to that, 20, 22 bikes in the store at a time, which honestly, once I get to that point, our solution to that is just to be a little bit more aggressive about reminding customers that they have a work order ready for pickup. And typically when we start sending texts and phone calls out daily, we get things picked up in a little bit more of an orderly fashion. This section here is kind of our fun little garage sale section. The inventory that we get in as far as bikes will very often have little odds and ends on them that we don't necessarily keep on the bike for sale. We try to sell all of our bikes accessory free. There's no kickstands, bottle cages, phone holders, anything like that. They're just the bare bike, and then the customer can customize it from there. That being said, we do get some things like clip-in pedals, rear racks, various bags, pumps, things of that nature that are used. And rather than mixing them with our new accessory items over this way, we like to just have like a discounted section. If somebody wants an oddball part, as you can see, this is pretty limited, but people do enjoy it. They come in here, we sell a lot of clip-in pedals, we sell a lot of handlebars, and we sell a lot of rear racks. And people appreciate getting the used price on an accessory item as well as the bike. And speaking of bikes, I'm gonna finally get into our sales floor, which again, you can see, we pack a lot into a very limited space. So we've got our kids' bike section right here. And then coming around, the way that we strategize this space is whatever are the bikes that are most commonly going to be looked at and taken out for test ride and sold, which would for us would be the hybrids. We keep those as accessible and easy to visualize as possible. So that's why our hybrids actually line this bottom level all the way across to here. And they are ordered based on size. So you'll see our like extra small and smalls here, getting into mediums, getting into large, And then I believe we have just one extra large, this Electra, in stock right now. The road bikes are our slowest turning category and also our lightest, and so they make the most sense in taking advantage of vertical space. So we have those hung up there. And then finally, our kind of mid-tier category would be trail bikes. We get a lot of trail bikes that are from the 90s, and so they're not really equipped for hardcore mountain biking today, unless of course you are just old school and you are used to riding a 26-inch hardtail, which we do get a fair number of those customers in, and we do have a fair number of trail networks local to our area, but by and large, we are selling the hybrids. Most of who comes in falls into the realm of what we like to call Dave and Susan. They want to keep up with their kids on the C&O Canal. They want to ride around the neighborhood. They just want to do some casual, easy riding and get into this. They're not looking to ride for sport. They're looking to ride purely for fun. So overall, we're looking at about 900 square feet with some obvious oddities in the space. We have the industrial elevator that cuts into this quite awkwardly. We have some sets of stairs. This is not the type of space that somebody would look at blankly and think bike shop. Definitely had to do a lot of measurements, do a lot of thinking, do a lot of experimentation as to what would be the best way to make this work. And the combination there, the magic combination, is keeping your overhead low while still being able to effectively provide the products and services that you're aiming to provide for your target demographics. So I hope that kind of gives a better idea. I know that this is the background that you're used to seeing, but that kind of shows you what I'm working with. I originally, in the first year and a half or so, I was in a back room in the same building working with 400 square feet. In those days, I wouldn't have more than about 20 bikes on the floor at a time, and I definitely was crammed during peak season when it came to work orders. This has been a much happier medium. I don't think that I personally am going to outgrow this space. If I really wanted to take this to a next level, to where I'd be busy enough to require a larger staff, I would also need a larger space. I've done the math on it. I don't think the juice is really worth the squeeze. I could service more bikes, serve more customers, make more sales, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure I would just be working a lot harder and not necessarily taking home any more than I am now. So I hope this this video maybe would be shocking to some people. Be like, oh wow, you can actually do this with a small space. Or maybe there's some people out there that are thinking the opposite and they're like, wow, look at how wasteful Matt is. I do this in my 100 square foot garage and I sell 150 bikes a year. If you are one of those people, comment below, because I would definitely be interested in hearing more about your setup. Those types of stories always fascinate me, where people just find a way to operate a business with really, really bare bones overhead. So I hope this was revealing to you, and I'll see you in the next video.